Your cat has been trying to tell you they love you every single day. And the most heartbreaking part isn't that owners miss it. The most heartbreaking part is that while they're busy searching for proof of their cat's affection, their cat is watching them and wondering why their signals keep going unanswered. What you're about to learn isn't a list of feel-good habits. It's the difference between a cat who tolerates your presence and a cat who genuinely, actively chooses you. And those two things look almost identical from the outside until you understand the language between them. Most people assume that a cat who doesn't hide, who eats well, who shows up when you sit down, is a cat who feels understood. They assume the relationship is close because nothing seems broken. But here's what most owners don't realize. Cats don't measure your love by what you provide. They measure it by how safe you make them feel. Specifically, by how well you understand the language they're using to ask for that safety in the first place. And the gap between what most owners think they're communicating and what their cat is actually receiving is, in most homes, enormous, and has been for years. Here's what makes this even more worth staying for. We'll get to something near the end of this video that most cat owners wish they had understood from the very first week they brought their cat home. It has nothing to do with toys, treats, or training. It's about one specific place on your cat's body, the most intimate place in the entire language of cat social bonding, and what happens inside both of you when that place is touched with real intention. Keep that in the back of your mind as we go through these 7 things, because when we finally get there, everything before it is going to feel like it was building toward something. Before we get into number 1, I want to set up a picture that's playing out in a lot of homes right now, maybe yours. A cat who used to sleep near their owner has started drifting, still present, still eating, still watching from the far end of the room. But the closeness that used to be there has quietly eroded, and the owner has no idea what changed. They try offering more play, more treats, more attention. The cat keeps drifting. Hold on to that image, because by the time we reach number 6, you're going to understand exactly what has been happening and how quickly it can change. 1. Here's where we start, and it's something most people completely misread every single day without knowing it. When your cat makes eye contact with you from across the room, and then slowly, deliberately closes their eyes, they are not sleepy. They are saying something to you that took researchers years to formally document and measure. A 2020 study from the University of Sussex ran controlled experiments where owners slow blinked at their cats, and where strangers slow blinked at cats they had never met. The results were striking. Cats were significantly more likely to approach a person after receiving a slow blink. Their willingness to engage increased measurably, not because of a treat, not because of a toy, because of 3 seconds of intentional eye movement. Here's what makes this feel like a real loss once you understand it. In cat language, direct unblinking eye contact is a threat signal. It is the posture cats use when assessing danger, when warning another animal, when deciding whether to hold their ground or run. So every single time you have looked at your cat with complete, open, adoring eye contact and not followed it with a slow blink, your cat's brain received one word: alert. You have been saying, "I love you," and they have been reading, "Stay ready." That has been happening in your home, between you and an animal who wants nothing more than to trust you, for years. Make this a daily habit starting today. Anytime your cat holds your gaze, let your eyes soften, let your lids close slowly, and hold for just a beat before opening again. When they blink back, and with time they will, that exchange is not a small thing. That is your cat's nervous system, registering something specific. I am not being threatened. I am not being hunted. I am home. In a moment, we're going to get to something that builds directly on this. A kind of communication even simpler than a blink that most owners are already doing every day without realizing how much it matters. But first, here's what that slow blink actually represents in the wild. Even in feral colonies, slow blinking between cats signals the suspension of threat assessment. It is the deliberate lowering of a defense mechanism. Think about what it means that a domestic cat offers this to you unprompted. without conditioning, simply because you are in the room. They are not choosing to feel safe because of what you've given them. They're choosing to feel safe because of who you are to them. And most owners spend years looking back at those blinks without understanding that they were being handed something. 2. That daily communication most owners take for granted and probably feel a little embarrassed about is the sound of your voice when you talk to your cat. Not what you say, how you say it. That warm, soft, slightly higher tone that comes out of you without permission the moment your cat walks into the kitchen. A 2022 study from the University of Paris found that cats can distinguish their owner's voice from a stranger's voice, but only when the owner speaks in that specific tone. In a normal adult-speaking voice, cats barely reacted, even after years of living with the same person. But the moment that familiar softness came through, the cats turned, moved closer, and showed clear behavioral signs of recognition and comfort. Here's what that means. Your cat is not just hearing a sound they recognize, they are pattern matching your voice to a specific internal state, to safety, to warmth, to the one presence in their world that has always meant care. And the only version of your voice that carries that association is the one most people feel self-conscious about. Use it more. Talk to your cat when you walk through the door. Say their name softly when you pass them. Narrate whatever you're doing. The words are completely beside the point. The tone is the entire message. That voice, heard daily, builds something no treat or toy can build. The certainty, settled deep in your cat's nervous system, that your presence means safety. 3. Before the next one, I want to ask you something. When was the last time your cat looked genuinely, completely absorbed in play? Not politely batting at something you were holding out, actually locked in, crouched low, pupils wide, body still as stone before the pounce. If you're struggling to remember, this next section is going to explain exactly why. And what you've both been missing. Cats are neurologically hardwired for a specific sequence of behaviors. Locate, stalk, chase, pounce, catch, finish. That is not a preference or a personality quirk. It is a biological blueprint that every domestic cat carries, regardless of age or temperament, regardless of how many generations removed from the wild their lineage is. When you wave a toy back and forth in the same predictable arc, your cat's brain has already solved the puzzle before their body has even shifted. There is nothing to stalk, nothing to chase, no unpredictability to respond to. The hunt never actually begins. To your cat, a toy that moves in a straight line at constant speed is the behavioral equivalent of a meal already on the plate. The sequence they were built for never fires. And what most owners miss is that it's not just about physical enrichment. A cat who never gets to complete a real hunt is a cat carrying a low hum of unfulfilled drive, and that drive accumulates as anxiety, restlessness, and a kind of disconnection from the environment that owners often misread as aloofness. Move the toy like something that doesn't want to be caught. Drag it away from your cat, not toward them. Let it freeze for 2 seconds, then bolt. Pull it around a corner and drag it out fast and low. Let it twitch, go completely still, then twitch again. When your cat drops into that slow, deliberate crouch, when their pupils go wide and dark and their weight shifts backward over their haunches, that is the activation of something ancient, something that has been waiting for an outlet. And what matters most in that moment is not the toy, it's you. Because you became the person who finally understood what they needed in a language that predates domestication by thousands of years. 5 to 10 minutes of this kind of play every day produces a calmer cat, a more affectionate cat, and a cat who looks at you with something close to recognition. Not because you entertained them, because you heard them. And hey, if any of this is already shifting the way you see your cat, hit subscribe. Every video on this channel is built to help owners understand what their cats have been trying to say all along. The next section is one that surprises almost everyone who hears it, because the most powerful thing you can do for your cat today requires absolutely nothing from you. 4. Sit near your cat. That's it. Do nothing. Most owners think closeness is something you build through action, petting, playing, talking, feeding. So when they're on the couch and their cat is on the other side of the room and nothing is happening, it feels like an opportunity wasted. But your cat is not doing nothing in that moment. They are actively choosing to be in the same space as you, with their guard only partially up, in a posture that requires a specific kind of trust to hold. In wild and feral cat colonies, proximity is one of the most significant expressions of social trust that exists. Cats do not rest near individuals whose presence registers as a threat. They do not share space with cats they haven't assessed and accepted. So when your cat sits across the room from you and doesn't leave, when they remain awake, watching, present, they are saying something. And what they're saying is not nothing. When you sit near your cat without reaching for them, without calling their name, without trying to make something happen, you are communicating something that many cats rarely receive from their owners. Your presence is enough. I don't need anything from you right now. I just want to be near you. This is where the cat I mentioned at the beginning starts to come back. The one who had drifted, sleeping in harder to reach spots, watching from greater distances, keeping a few more feet of space than there used to be. In a lot of cases, that cat didn't stop loving their person. They started managing the unpredictability of contact they never initiated. The owner's love was real, but it arrived on the owner's terms. A hand reaching out when the cat walked past. A pickup when the cat looked peaceful. A call across the room when the cat was settled. And gradually, the cat built distance not out of coldness, but out of a need to protect the small moments of rest and autonomy they had left. When the owner learned to simply be there, without asking for anything in return, the distance started closing. Not quickly. First, the same room. Then, the same piece of furniture. Then, right alongside. The cat didn't come back because something was offered. The cat came back because nothing was required. And in the world of cats, being chosen, not because you provided something, but simply because you are present and safe, is the highest form of love there is. 5. Here's something that should come before every single pet you give your cat, and most owners have never been told about it. Before you reach for your cat, extend one finger toward their nose, and wait. Don't move it forward. Don't call their name to draw them in. Just hold it a few inches from their face and let your cat decide what happens next. When they stretch toward it, when they press their nose to your fingertip or pull their cheek slowly along your hand, that's your green light. That's your cat saying, I know you. I'm ready. Here's the thing most people don't know. Cats process the world through scent before anything else. Not sight, not sound. Scent first. Always. When two bonded cats reunite after time apart, they touch noses before anything else happens. That brief exchange is a biological greeting that says, you are mine. I recognize you. We are safe. When you skip that step and go directly to petting, you're not hurting your cat, but you're bypassing the one check-in that their nervous system was designed to expect at the start of every interaction. Over years of skipped greetings, something subtle accumulates. Cats learn to brace slightly at incoming hands, not out of fear, but from the habitual absence of being consulted. 2 seconds and one extended finger is the entire correction. You become, over time, the person who asks first, who checks in before making contact. Cats carry a record of the people who do that. They build their deepest trust around it. 6. And this is what I promised you at the very beginning. The thing most owners wish they had understood from day one. The part that changes everything. When bonded cats groom each other, a behavior called allo-grooming, they don't groom just anywhere. They return, almost without exception, to one specific area, the base of the skull, between and behind the ears, and down the back of the head. That is the only region of a cat's entire body that a cat cannot reach on its own. No amount of contortion gets a cat's tongue to the back of its own head, and because of that, it becomes the most intimate place in the entire language of cat social bonding. The only way a cat ever receives touch there is from someone they have chosen as part of their inner circle. A study published in Applied Animal Behavior Science found that allo-grooming releases oxytocin, the neurochemical associated with attachment, trust, and social bonding. in both cats involved. Not just the one being groomed, both of them. The bond is not given in one direction, it is shared. And oxytocin released in this context has been linked to measurable reductions in cortisol, the primary stress hormone, in cats. Being touched in this spot by someone trusted doesn't just feel good to a cat. It chemically re-regulates their entire internal state. Remember earlier when I said there's one place on your cat's body that no one else gets access to? This is it. And here is what most owners go their cat's entire life never understanding. You can activate this yourself, every single day. Use your fingertips, not your palm, your fingertips, to gently stroke the area between your cat's ears and down the back of their head. Slow, light, repetitive. The same pressure and rhythm another cat's tongue would produce. Watch what happens. Their eyes close in a way that is different from any other kind of petting. Their body releases. Not just relaxes, but releases, in a way that is specific to this spot. The purr, when it starts, is slower and lower than anything a chin scratch or belly rub has ever produced. That is not ordinary comfort. That is your cat's brain issuing a chemical signal that it reserves for family, for the ones it belongs to, for the ones who belong to it. And most owners never touch that spot with intention, never understand what it was offering. They spend an entire relationship on the outside of the one experience their cat most wanted to share with them. Think about the cat who had been drifting, the one sleeping further away, choosing harder to reach spots, managing distance. The moment this particular kind of touch is offered, slow, deliberate, in exactly the right place, is often the moment something shifts that no amount of treats or play had been able to reach. Not because the touch is magic, because it speaks directly to the part of a cat's nervous system that says, this person knows me. This person knows where I need to be touched. This person is mine. 7. The last one is the simplest thing on this list, and in some ways, the most consistently violated. Stop picking up your sleeping cat. Cats sleep between 12 and 16 hours a day, not out of laziness, but because their entire physiology requires it. Deep sleep is when the nervous system recovers, when stress hormones regulate, when the body heals from everything the day asked of it. And it is the state in which your cat is most completely vulnerable. Their guard is entirely down, their muscles have fully released. They chose that spot because they felt safe enough to disappear from the world for a while. That choice, that willingness to be defenseless in a specific location, is a form of trust that most owners never think about until it starts to withdraw. When you lift a sleeping cat, their body registers danger before their brain has time to register you. Heart rate spikes. Claws extend reflexively. The threat response fires before the comfort response has a chance to arrive. Even if they settle into your arms 30 seconds later, something was logged first. That place is not as safe as I believed. Do this consistently, and it is hard not to, because a sleeping cat is genuinely, almost painfully beautiful. And you will notice your cat starting to choose sleeping spots that are harder to reach. Higher shelves, the back of the closet, underneath furniture. They are not withdrawing from you. They are protecting the one thing they need most. And the part that makes this pattern so quietly damaging is that the owner usually reads that withdrawal as the cat being antisocial and pursues more contact, which closes the gap on the cat's last remaining safe retreat. The habit here is not something you do, it is something you choose not to do. Walk past your sleeping cat. Let the moment of adorableness exist without reaching for it, because a cat who trusts that their rest will be respected is a cat who chooses, over time, to rest near you. And a cat who chooses to rest near you has already given you the only answer that ever mattered. Think back to every slow blink your cat has given you from across a room. Every time they settled at the edge of the couch and closed their eyes near your leg. Every time they stretched their nose toward your outstretched finger and held it there for just a second, Every single one of those moments was a sentence in a language that has been spoken toward you clearly and patiently since the day your cat first decided you were worth trusting. These 7 things are not techniques for manufacturing affection. They are the translation. Finally, the way to say back, in the only language that has ever made complete sense to your cat, what you have been trying to say since the beginning. That they are safe, that they are seen, that with you they will never have to wonder.